Now that our hallway has some interesting lighting, we should add some materials and textures. Switch to the Materials tab and you will see a list of all materials that are currently loaded. Materials are XNA effects that represent distinct surfaces. They are defined within your modeling application and are usually separated by the assigned texture. For example, the windmill has 6 materials, 1 for each texture on the model. The texture browser on the left displays all textures in the content folder. Navigate your subfolders using the directory tree view, and the texture browser will show the textures in that particular folder. You can also right-click on the tree view and select Show Subfolder Textures to view more textures at once. In the Properties panel, you will see several texture map boxes. When selected, materials will display the currently assigned texture in this box. You can change the texture by dragging and dropping from the texture browser. Double-clicking on a texture in the browser or in a texture map box will open up a full-screen preview. In this preview window, you can right-click to view the texture's alpha map. Let's start by applying some textures to the hallway. To help you find the material you want to edit, right-click on it and select Highlight Selected Material. While Highlight Selected is enabled, you cannot edit any materials. Once you find the material you want, turn off Highlight Selected and we can begin to edit. Start by selecting a diffuse texture. This is the base texture that gives the material most of its color information. Once you find the texture you want to use, simply drag and drop it onto the diffuse map texture box. Alternatively, you can use the diffuse color property to give the material a flat, constant color rather than using a texture. Next, find and assign a normal map. Normal maps are used to add surface detail based on the surrounding lighting. They provide additional information by defining a surface normal at each pixel. Normal maps turn a standard texture into a realistic looking surface. To add even more detail, use the specular properties. With specular enabled, materials will have reflection hotspots with nearby lights. This is helpful for glossy surfaces, such as metal and glass. Specular power controls how big the reflection hotspot is, with larger values giving smaller hotspots. Specular amount changes the overall intensity of the hotspot, with larger values giving brighter hotspots. For metal, good starting values will be 32 for specular power and 1 for specular amount. Finally, you can enable transparent materials with the transparent checkbox on the right. Use the amount property to change the threshold value for invisible pixels. The transparent portions are controlled by the alpha channel in the diffuse texture. Now let's take a few moments to assign textures to the remaining materials. This area is now complete with models, lights, and materials. In the next video, we will cover using scene environments to control how your scene is rendered.